crisis forces Fort Worth restaurant to close. That is a mouthful, isn't it? So there are supply chain problems. Everybody's probably sick of hearing about them, but hey, thank you for joining us at It Matters, a podcast that we just look at the news, try to decipher what's really going on in some cases, add a little bit of narrative to it for what we think, and give our opinion. And you know, we've been offending people, and I guess I'm sorry about that, but you're clearly too easily offended, I think.
Sorry, not sorry.
Maybe Dave Chappelle has some knowledge on some of that. But
wait. Weighing in at 100 and Matt Logan.
Hanging out with me is...
This is Craig Ugland. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and at It Matters.
Let's get into the news story here. While the supply chain nightmare is blamed for shortages on everything from glass bottles to auto parts, now a Fort Worth neighborhood is finding their appetite on the line. Drew's Soul Food restaurant has closed its doors, shifting to catering only as the owners struggle to secure the supplies needed to stay open. It started with the meat industry, explains co-owner Stephanie Thompson. And we just knew it wasn't going to get better. And things just rolled downhill. Oxtails, black-eyed peas, some of the containers we can't get, and sometimes you can only get 3, shares her husband, Andrew Drew Thomas. With Stephanie adding, if I order the to-go cups for your vegetables, Wait, let me just say this right here. Who's going to get vegetables to go? Not me.
Well, what do you got soul food?
Oh, there. Wow, that's good.
I'm assuming because they're talking about oxtails and black-eyed
No,
peas.
right,
I'm going to
yeah,
go
yeah.
with the soul. I'm going to judge here. I'm going to guess.
Well, you
serving
read
some
the
soul
article.
food.
It says it in there.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so they might have the cups in stock, but they don't have the lids. And what good is that? She says. So yeah, this is an interesting article. They've been around for, was it 30 some years, 32 years, something like that. I don't know if it was this article, or 34 years. And so they're going over to catering. It does allude to the fact that they're hoping the catering will sustain them well enough, essentially, to reopen the doors once hopefully supply chain issues come back. My daughter is a supply chain analyst for a big company, and down south is where she lives at for one of their branches. And she's like, yeah, it's crazy. And she was on the podcast, and I'm saying the same thing she said on the podcast, but I obviously have private conversations. She's like, it's nuts. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's nuts.
And now, a quick break for you to think about how much you love the narrator of this podcast.
And it'd be interesting if there's any opportunity to truly pinpoint where the bottleneck is. Is it the cargo ships? No, there's waiting in line. Is it the dock workers? I don't know. Is it the truckers? I've seen a lot of videos where they're lined up outside the ports waiting for containers. Where's the problem?
Policy.
Is it the truck drivers? Is it the warehouse, the distribution centers?
It's policy.
How is policy preventing all that from happening?
Well, they've got these vax mandates that people are rebelling against. They have policies that make it difficult to, there's fuel problems.
Fuel costs.
Yeah, fuel costs. There's a lot of different things. But, it all comes down to me, and what I see here is, frankly, they shut everything down. They closed down the country. That was Trump's fault. A lot. You can put a lot of fault to him for that one. And what I mean by that is he simply said to the governors, do what you think is best. Right. Here's what we recommend. Good old Fauci, which all this stuff has come out about him now, which is fantastic, I think. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are denying it and blah, 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 even though there's literally photos of him in these labs.
Yeah.
So at any rate, this is hurting. These big things and policies and issues are hurting working class
Small business.
businesses all over the country.
Right.
And they can't do what Amazon does. And Costco, what was that article we talked about a couple weeks ago? Costco literally has contracted their own ships.
Yep.
Wow.
Right. There aren't many companies that can do that.
No.
I'm a little skeptical on the article, and I feel bad for the small businesses they're the ones that are getting hit hard because they don't likely have the resources that the big corporations do. But they talk about in the article of just going to takeout, but yet their issue is getting to go containers. So
No,
how's
they
that gonna
said
work?
they tried the takeout, and so they're going to do catering.
Okay, I misread the article.
Yeah, so no, it does talk about that they had issues with takeout, but right here it says they.
And now a quick break from the podcast because listening sometimes just gets draining, just like water drains down a sink. Okay. And now back to the episode.
Oh, catering only.
Yep.
Sorry,
So
that's my bad.
yeah, so they're going to catering because of the issues.
With takeout.
With takeout
containers.
and-
Okay,
yeah.
that makes
Yep.
a lot more sense to me. 'cause, they
And
can
just
reuse all
supply
that
in
stuff.
general. And there's people that I've personally talked to face to face that there was never a meat shortage. No, there was.
There was a processing issue. You just had to go to the farm. If you were able to go to the farm and get hogs or beef, I mean, they were throwing it away. They had to kill animals because they couldn't get them processed.
Yeah,
But it was the outbreaks or concern of outbreaks in the processing plants.
right. So the point is there are shortages. There are supply chain issues.
Right.
So that's a combination of two things.
Yep.
And people are denying it. And I mean, literally, people, you've heard it, you've seen
yeah.
it online. I know you have.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
So it's like, no, get out of your freaking bubble. Go look around. Call some people from out of state. Do some investigative reporting.
Turn off the TV.
Yes. Spend 30 minutes on the phone. Get that magic Google going and start looking.
Or get off of Google and get another search engine.
Yeah. But the point is the search.
Right.
Don't
do
just-
a little bit of homework and not
Yes.
just
Yes.
listen to mainstream
Because
media.
I've seen,
And this isn't conspiracy theory stuff.
no, I've seen it with my own eyes. Places like were open, like 1 week when I was there to the next week, they're like, we just can't do it.
And then if they can get the materials, they don't have the employees.
Right.
So it's the processing's been hit to get the food or whatever processed. The shipping's been hit, especially when our federal government is wanting to mandate the poke or the shot, and then the restaurants can't get the wait staff to do the work.
And they're like, oh, just increase the pay. Everybody has increased the pay.
How's that working out?
It's not.
And then the cost of everything else goes up. So the extra money that they're making is gone because their groceries are up, their gas is up, their heating's up, their power's up, their rent is through the roof. I guess that extra $3 an hour didn't quite go as far as they thought.
Yeah, and it caused a lot of problems. There's things going around like this. This particular restaurant is a victim of inflation. A lot of it, I think, because inflation causes some of the supply chain issues. Certainly the food shortages, but they're also, in my opinion, a victim of seeing good times and bad times because they've been here for 34 years, right?
Right, they've been through it.
So in 2008, when everything happened and all those policies that went around it, and we're looking at the same kind of issues and problems, and guess what? Is the same administration essentially. The vice president at the time is now president, and all these same economic issues and that happened then are happening now.
Yep.
So it's a policy. It's the people in charge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Elections have consequences.
They do. It's a good thing that I had a conversation with someone.
Break time. Break time. Break time. Yep, time for a break. We'll be right back.
And it was very interesting because he was blue his whole life, and he's not anymore. He's not really red either, but he's more red.
It's more middle than.
No, he's probably even farther than red now because of the blue issues. Mm-hmm. And so to make the story really short, he was talking about how, he grew up, DFLer and all those things, and how good that they're supposed to be for the farmers and labor and all that stuff. And then now,
can you hear eye rolls?
We could probably put a sound effect in here.
Okay. All right.
Why are you getting so upset? This is not about you.
And so he was saying that he's let me say he's retired, so he's a little been around, knows a little bit, and he went through the 2008 crisis and saw the policies that were handled and all that kind of stuff. Hated Donald Trump and voted for Biden. Mm-hmm. And he's like, now we're getting the same thing happening. This was just like a month ago I talked to him. Now we're getting the same thing that happened, and what do we have? The same solutions to the same problems. And he says, I'm done. Right.
Yep.
I'm done with it. He said they're so establishment he's talking about, and seeing how all they care about is themselves and their own power and all these other things. And it's like, yep. But then there's a lot of Republicans.
That touches on both sides.
But then there's a lot of Republicans. I'm not saying.
They're just concerned about the next election.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so it's gotten to be such an obvious thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then there's other people that are denying these restaurants from closing. So they're a victim of bad economy issues, and they're like, we're not going to fight it anymore.
Right.
We're like, we're going to do catering. Works for us. It's profitable for us.
Right. Your overhead is less because you don't have employees and taxes, employee tax and all that stuff.
Yep. So that's exactly why I picked this article, because they have the experience and they see where this is going, and they see that the next 3.5 years-ish, 3 years for sure, could be really, really bad heck. Mm-hmm. And that's what stood out to me in this.
Right.
Is like, we're not going to fight it. We can't. We don't have the energy anymore.
Yep. It's interesting because you see articles like this, and it is sad because they have been around for 34 years, and why now are things going to crap? But then you get, like locally, finally things are rebounding. And it was just announced this week that one of the local cuisine families, one of the families that has 5 or 6 restaurants, they're opening up a restaurant up in Apple Valley. So I think it's the first time that they're expanding outside of Rochester. And they had said in the article that if it goes well in Apple Valley, they want to keep expanding. But they've got it's anybody that's from the area, it's new. It's who has really good burgers, and it's not stuff that you can get anywhere fast food. It's unique. It's just good traditional burgers and stuff. And I wish them all the best of luck, but that's a huge risk, especially right now with not knowing what's going to be happening in the next 3 years. But they've also opened up another restaurant that was actually delayed for over a year because of logistics and COVID and labor. But I mean, they figured it out. They're doing well. And there's some other restaurants that are coming online now too, which is refreshing because so many closed.
Yeah, they can come online because they're closed. But my chubby cheeks and chubby belly tell you that I eat out a lot. And, so I, all over the country, and there's a lot of places that have closed, a lot of restaurants, dozens and dozens of places that I probably list off, I guess. But when you go into the ones that are open in some of these areas, they have, some of them even have signs like on the doors before you come in, like, "Hey, we're out of this. So if you're coming in for that, don't do it." Right?
Yep.
And so, like, even in Applebee's in one location,
Oh wow.
sign when you, not on the door, but when you go in, due to blah 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 blah, we're currently out of. And I'm like, an Applebee's, wow, you'd think that they
National
would
chain.
be covered, right?
Yeah.
So I was really surprised by that. But it's very common. This kind of thing is very, very common right now, and that's the reality that we live in. And that is the reality is that will create more inflation because it's harder to get things, so the price goes up. That's just the natural
Supply and
order of
demand.
things. Yeah.
Yep.
So more of this to come, I think.
And we've got 3 more years of it. And well, for sure a year. I mean, the elections next November will be very interesting. Historically, power flips.
Historically,
the midterm
sure.
elections. It's very well established.
But is
that
it really
power flips?
a power flip? I mean,
It's majority flips in the
yeah,
House and Senate. And it's very thin majority right now.
And now, a quick break from the podcast. Make a pizza, chill on the couch, get a massage. We'll be back in about 10 seconds. And now, back to the episode.
yeah, but
But then it'll
let's
just
be
stalemate.
honest. I mean, they're all fighting on the same side. They're trying to get us to, I say us out here, working class people, to really do the actual hard work and do the real fighting, because if they keep us divided, they win every single time.
Yep.
So you have a president that has been in 48 years, I think. He has never held a private sector job.
Nope.
And there's dozens of him, like him, in government.
Yes. And they're the ones that are running it because they've got that seniority
Yep. And that's
on both sides. Yeah.
both sides of the aisle. That's my point.
Yep.
And then I'm liking Trump more and more and more as more I learn about it all, honestly. I mean, I've put it like this many times on podcasts, so if you've heard it, just listen to it again. But last year, a year and a half ago, they made me look. They shut the country down. I had 37 contracts cancel. They made me look. What's going on here? Why is this? And then they kept doing it. They kept things locked down. They, now the vax mandates and all these things. And I'm like, you made me look. You made me look.
You opened up my eyes.
Yep. And I was doing my thing,
Minding
trying to
your own
make a
business.
difference. Yep.
Yep.
And then boom, you made me look. And I can't unlook now.
No. It's going to be really hard to trust anybody in politics anymore. I mean, not like we had a lot of faith in them beforehand, but the whole, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, but did you sit back and look at it with unbiased eyes?
Right.
I don't think we intend to go down conspiracy theory holes or wormholes or anything like that, but do some critical thinking and turn off the TV. Like we say every podcast, think about this stuff. It doesn't. sit well.
matters.
The whole that feeling in your gut. There's a reason that's there, and it just things aren't right.
Yeah, they're not right. For sure. Very much not right. Even Kristi Noem in South Dakota and stuff, I guess, she's sort of defended some of the businesses that are kind of mandating the jab and stuff. I haven't read all about it yet, but that's really disappointing. She seemed to come out as like, hey, do your thing.
Right.
But now it seems like she's in support of these companies mandating it and all that. And I'm not sure I know her angle yet, but I mean, we know DeSantis in Florida and Abbott in Texas and things. They're saying, no, you can't mandate this. It is not constitutional. So I guess to me, that's the establishment look, and those big businesses probably supported her. Is my guess. I don't know, but it's fairly educated guess.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. So you get somebody like Trump, and he had a lot of problems, still has a lot of problems.
He'll have PR problems.
But guess what? I have a lot of problems too.
Yeah, and
but the point I'm trying to make there is that those people who are trying to point out the problems in other people, man in the mirror, Michael Jackson. I actually just wrote a whole thing on this. I might even post it. I did it mainly for myself. I just wrote a whole thing on this. Like, can you separate the man from the message, or the message from the man, however you want to put it? Mm-hmm. Man in the Mirror, that song, I don't know who wrote it, but he performed it. Heck of a good song.
Most of the stuff was.
Yeah. So then, can you separate the message from the man? Mm-hmm. I think you have to, because otherwise you are saying that you are righteous, that you are right, and that you're not failable, and that's not true. So any message that any person comes out and says, you have to separate the message from the man or the woman, whoever the message came from, and separate, okay, this section right here, I can use that to benefit my life. This section over here, that wasn't good, so I'm going to hold you accountable for that.
Sounds like a soundbite.
It's a soundbite.
But I mean, it's true.
And the same for Trump with policies, and the same for a lot of people. I mean, I post quotes every day, and there are quotes from people that I do not agree with their philosophy of life at all, but I'm like, I can learn from this. This makes sense.
They could still have a good moment, a good
exactly
quote.
Yes. And so what can we learn from it? How can we benefit our life? What can we do to help educate others based off of those things? And that's the whole point that I'm saying.
Right.
Is you have to separate the message from the person.
I would agree with that.
So I don't know. We all know Michael Jackson's issues.
Yeah.
And we all
as
know
a
Trump's
person,
issues.
not so good.
Right. And they were,
But they both did very good things in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you have a guy, clearly a narcissist, Trump's a narcissist.
I don't think anybody could fight that, argue that.
But Craig, guess what? So are you.
Probably.
So am I. To an extent.
Right.
All of us are narcissists. And if we can't recognize that we have some narcissistic tendencies of some kind, then that's when there's trouble. I think that as soon as we can acknowledge and admit that, which I think Trump needs to do, I think he would be a lot more powerful if he said, yeah, hey, I get it. I'm a
schmuck.
Right. And
I've done bad things and I've done unfair dealings.
Yeah.
But that's also experience in life. And
Yes.
I've learned from those experiences.
And so when he takes his billions and loves the country of America and spends his own money and doesn't take a wage and has never been in politics his entire life,
And you don't have that threat of being bought and paid for because he doesn't need the money.
Exactly. So, again, to circle back to the beginning of that, the more I look at it, the more I think, we need a person like him. Again,
Not a career politician.
not a career politician.
Right.
Anyway, way off base here for this supply chain crisis, but
Have you ever had oxtail?
I don't think so.
I haven't.
I don't.
Interesting.
It's been on the menu, but I don't remember when I've had it. Yeah.
Kind of vigorous quick reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's end it there, Oxtail. So hey, thanks for joining us. Hammer the like button, hammer the share button, hammer out a comment. Tell us how much you hate. We offended you, something like that, right? Whatever.
Criticism is always good.
Yeah. Take it away.
Craig Uglin. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and here on Fridays at Shh, It Matters.
See you soon.